One arrogant designer. One calm woman with quiet power. He refused to make her a dress, unaware he'd just insulted his future boss. It was a golden afternoon in Paris, the kind of day where sunlight draped the city like silk. Through the tall glass windows of Maison Duclair, the light spilled across polished marble floors, glinting off crystal chandeliers that whispered luxury with every shimmer. The boutique was a temple of fashion, its air perfumed with jasmine and the faint sweetness of new leather. Rows of mannequins stood motionless, draped in gowns so exquisite they seemed almost untouchable. Masterpieces worth fortunes, guarded by silence and pride. The door opened with a soft chime. Elena Roberts stepped inside. She moved with quiet grace, her beige linen dress catching the light like soft gold. A pair of delicate earrings framed her calm face, her eyes steady and observant. The eyes of a woman who didn't need to announce her worth. For a moment, the world seemed to pause. The soft hum of French conversation, the rustle of silk, the ticking of a jeweled watch, all faded beneath the subtle confidence of her presence. Elena wasn't there to impress. She wasn't chasing admiration or attention. She came for one thing, something beautiful, something perfect, a dress for the evening that would change everything. Behind the counter stood Lucien Moreau, the celebrated designer whose name shimmered in every Parisian fashion magazine. His silver hair was perfectly in place, his suit tailored so sharply it could cut air itself. When Elena stepped closer, his eyes flicked up, just once, before drifting away with thinly veiled disinterest. His lips curled into a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Madam, I'm afraid we only serve clients by appointment." The words floated in the air, coated in politeness but dripping with dismissal. Elena's voice was calm, steady. "That's all right. I can wait if you have time." But Lucien was already turning away, rearranging a silk gown that didn't need fixing. "Perhaps," he added, voice smooth as glass, "you'd be more comfortable at Rue Montmartre. They have lovely boutiques there, more affordable." The assistants froze, exchanging nervous glances, their discomfort swallowed by silence. Elena's eyes softened, not with anger, but something deeper, quiet disappointment. She adjusted the strap of her purse, her posture unbroken, her dignity untouched. "Thank you," she said gently. "I understand." Then she turned and walked out, her heels tapping lightly against the marble, a calm rhythm that echoed louder than any insult could. Outside, the golden afternoon light brushed against Elena's face as she stepped onto the quiet Parisian street. The air was warm, humming with the distant sound of traffic and laughter from a nearby cafe. For a moment she stood still, not angry, not shaken, just silent. Her reflection in the boutique window looked back at her, composed and unbroken, framed by the shimmer of designer gowns behind the glass. She reached into her handbag, pulled out her phone, and dialed a number with deliberate calm. Her voice, low and steady, carried the kind of authority that didn't need to be raised. "Yes, it's me. I've made my decision. Proceed with the acquisition." There was a pause on the other end, brief, startled, before a respectful reply followed. "Understood. Ms. Roberts, it will be finalized within the hour." Elena ended the call and slipped the phone back into her purse. A faint breeze lifted the edge of her linen dress as she began to walk away, each step measured, graceful. Around her, the city moved as usual, no one noticing, no one guessing that within minutes, the fate of Maison Duclair was about to change forever. Inside Maison Duclair, the air had shifted. The calm luxury of the boutique trembled beneath a ripple of unease. Assistants whispered behind perfume displays, their eyes darting to their phones. Something was happening, something big. Lucien adjusted his cufflinks, frowning as his assistant hurried toward him, pale and breathless. "Sir, there's a corporate alert." She stammered. "The brand? It's just been bought by a new investor." Lucien let out a short, dismissive laugh. "So? It happens all the time. Some bored millionaire, no doubt." But before he could finish his sentence, the sound of tires against cobblestone cut through the air. A sleek black car rolled to a stop just outside the glass doors. Heads turned, the door opened, and there she was, Elena Roberts, stepped out, the same woman he had dismissed not 20 minutes ago, now flanked by 2 suited executives, and a silent aura of authority that made the room still. The boutique fell into a hush so deep, even the faint hum of the air conditioner seemed to fade. Lucienne's confident smile faltered. The realization crept in slowly, like a chill through velvet. Something was very, very wrong. Lucienne's throat tightened as Elena crossed the marble floor, her heels striking with quiet authority. The same woman he had dismissed now moved through his boutique as though she had always belonged there, and perhaps, in a way, she always had. Her calm smile didn't waver. "Good afternoon again. Mr. Moreau," she said, her tone poised yet disarming. "I believe we have some business to discuss." Lucienne's mouth opened, but only fragments escaped. I don't understand." Elena's gaze was steady, her voice soft, but unyielding. "You see," she said almost gently, "I just purchased Maison Duclair." The words hung in the air like a bell struck in slow motion. Silence spread through the room, heavy and absolute. Even the air itself seemed to pause. The faint hum of the air conditioner, the ticking of the clock, everything stopped to listen. Elena turned toward the assistants, offering them a kind smile. "You've been very kind," she said warmly. "I'd love for you to stay." Then, facing Lucien once more, her tone cooled, but her eyes still held grace. "But arrogance and prejudice," she said softly, "have no place in a house of art." And in that instant, the balance of power shifted forever. Lucien stood frozen, every ounce of color draining from his face. His pride, the armor he had worn for years, suddenly felt like a cage. He expected the blow, the humiliation, the dismissal he surely deserved. The store staff watched in uneasy silence, waiting for the inevitable words that would end his reign at Maison Duclair. But Elena didn't speak with anger. Her voice came gentle, like a melody wrapped in strength. "I'm not here for revenge," she said quietly. "I'm here to change the culture you built. You may stay, if you're willing to learn what true elegance means." The room seemed to exhale. For a long moment, Lucien couldn't lift his eyes. The woman he had once dismissed now offered him something far greater than punishment. Grace. His throat tightened. Tears, unbidden and raw, welled at the corners of his eyes. He looked at her, not as the owner of the brand, but as a teacher, a mirror reflecting his own arrogance back at him. For the first time in years, Lucien understood that elegance wasn't stitched into fabric or measured by price tags. It lived in kindness, in humility, and in the courage to change. Weeks later, Paris awoke to a new kind of beauty. Across billboards and glossy magazine covers, a new campaign shimmered beneath the morning light. Maison Duclair, beauty beyond color. The city paused. Gone were the cold, distant faces once chosen to represent luxury. Instead, at the heart of every image stood Elena Roberts, poised, radiant, not as a model, but as the visionary behind the brand's rebirth. Her eyes held warmth, her smile quiet yet powerful, the kind that spoke of battles fought and dignity preserved. Inside the boutique, everything had changed. The atmosphere no longer dripped with superiority, but hummed with purpose. Assistants greeted every customer with sincerity, not suspicion. Even Lucien, now humbler and softer, worked with renewed devotion, sketching designs that celebrated diversity instead of exclusivity. And through it all, Elena watched from her office window, the city alive beneath her, golden, forgiving, infinite. Her story didn't need headlines or applause. Its message lingered in the air like a gentle truth. Sometimes, power doesn't need to shout. It walks in quietly, dressed in dignity. And when grace meets injustice, grace always wins. In the city of fashion, true elegance had finally found its meaning. True elegance isn't about luxury, labels, or status. It's about how you treat people, especially when you think no one's watching.